Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Lisa Oligas. Today we are talking technology, its amazing advances, and at the same time, the dangers our ever-evolving connectivity can create for children. These topics and more will be the focus of the Joplin Regional Innovation and Technology Summit taking place November 2nd and 3rd. Our guests are the coordinators of the summit, Doug Hunt, the Director of Entrepreneurship with the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce, and Jason Ringer with Stronghold Data. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
This is an exciting event. It's not the first one. This has become an annual event. So how did it get started, Doug?
This was actually started in 2021 with part of a grant from the state of Missouri through the MTC, and it has grown since that time. But it's a great avenue for us to educate the community on the importance of being cyber smart and cyber ready. And our relationship with Stronghold Data is strong, no pun intended, in the fact that they bring a lot of great expertise to the table for this event.
Yeah. Jason, you lined up a number of the speakers, and the first event is a big one, open to the public, taking place at Joplin Heights Performing Arts Center, and it's making sure kids are safe when online. So tell us about who this speaker is and the nature of this seminar.
It's going to be a great event Thursday night. We have Shane McCombs. He is with the Innocent Lives Foundation, and their goal is to go after online predators, and they will build case files, and those case files will then be turned over to local law enforcement for them to decide what the next step is. So he's going to be sharing some of what he sees on a daily basis on how children, parents can be more knowledgeable and protect themselves. And I was talking with Doug the other day, and it seems like even as the attacks go up towards our seniors, it might be valuable knowledge for them as well. We see scams all the time where they're trying to take advantage of our senior population and drain their bank accounts. And yeah, so it's going to be a lot of great information. It's Thursday, November 2nd, Joplin High School, and it's open to all communities.
And it's 6:30.
Yes, ma'am.
6:30. So human trafficking is a huge problem. We've seen it in the recent movie, The Sound of Freedom. Many others movies are being made because it's a hot issue. So there are predators online. What about this seminar will help people to be aware of this and then prevention?
I think you just touched on that. It's going to be some part of the presentation will be about awareness, but then how can you protect yourself and what things do you need to know? We think that we sign up for all these accounts online and we share a lot of information, and I think that that's something that most people don't realize what that information can be used for.
So why is it so important to talk safety? I mean, are we oversharing data? Are we revealing too much about ourselves?
Some people say no. Most people say yes, probably. But, it's different generationally. I see that. But a lot of information that's online right now, and people don't realize the risk. And I think that this conversation will highlight those areas.
We've heard about the dark web, but I mean, is it not even that extreme anymore?
The dark web is a real place. A lot of the majority of the internet traffic goes through on the dark web. Anyone can probably Google and find out how to get there, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you know what you're doing. And then it's almost like an iceberg where most of the internet traffic is dark web, and then the little bits on top, and that's what we all see and interact with on a regular basis.
Yeah. So let's talk about this session isn't just for parents though, right? I mean, kids are welcome.
No, I mean, anyone's welcome to attend. It's open to the community. In fact, I'd like to see representation from the 4-state area come, whether it's someone involved with the education system or law enforcement, maybe to see some different things, counselors, churches, youth groups. I mean, I think there's information that would be beneficial to every single person that's there.
And the fact that it's critical and time sensitive is important. But I think the thing that rang true for me, Lisa, is when Jason told me that Shane McCombs, during their dialogue on possibly coming to Joplin, his only criteria was that we provide counselors at the event.
Wow.
So Ozark Center, through Freeman Health System, has stepped up and volunteered 2 counselors. And then we want to thank John Tallis with Home Pro, who's sponsoring Thursday night's event. But what struck me about that is Shane has stated that when he gives this speech in other communities, that there's always seems to be one or two kids or somebody in the audience that says, hey, oh my goodness, that's happening to me. So we want to be available and ready. I'm not sure that we've ever had an event in the community that is so critical to the safety of our kids that is absolutely free. It's just taking the time to attend it. And that's why we've been reaching out to superintendents, to youth groups, faith-based organizations, to just say, just come and be educated and let's protect our kids in this community.
And tell me the name of the session is, because it's the ability to thrive on the internet rather than safety first. But I mean, are there supposed to be things that we can do well? I mean, kids are pretty savvy. They're more savvy than adults a lot. Is there something that the parents and other adults need to learn to kind of get past that learning curve?
Oh, absolutely. I think there'll be some educational part there as well. And you're right. The younger generation is way more tech savvy, and that's possibly why this conversation is important. Is we don't know how to have that conversation. From a generation that didn't grow up with a phone in their hand or a computer. So.
Right. So we also have the State Attorney General and the Secretary of State coming to be part of this summit.
Yeah.
What's the goal of having them there?
Well, the summit itself has got 4 tracks. So the fact that we've got elected officials coming, Jason has really done a great job spearheading that. So I'll let him speak to that. But we are very excited about it.
This is the event that's happening on Friday, November the 3rd, and it's going to be at James River Church on Maiden Lane. They were kind enough to allow us to use their facility. And so, as Doug indicated, there's four tracks of information that somebody could sit and gain some knowledge. The 2 keynote sessions, one is going to be, headlined by Missouri Attorney General Bailey, and he's going to be talking about some statewide initiatives when it comes to technology that Missouri's been involved in a couple of lawsuits, like with Facebook and other social media, but there's other things going on. It'll be interesting to hear, his take on that. And he's going to be starting our morning off in that keynote session. And then right after Attorney General speaks, Shane's going to come back and talk about the internet and social media and why businesses need to be aware of that from an employee standpoint.
Okay.
So it's only it's a very short session. It's about 20, 30 minutes. The Attorney General is speaking for 20, 30 minutes, so it's not long, and that's what's going to kick off the event on Friday.
Excellent. There is a Kids Online Safety Act, KOSA, that is in Congress right now. Do you think they'll address that, or can they possibly answer questions about that? Because there is a debate of, do we need federal legislation for the internet, and will that hurt free speech? I think that debate's out there, and do you think that'll come up again?
I can't tell you what's going to come up from Missouri Attorney General Bailey. I'm sure that during some Q&A time, you could ask him about that if it does not come up. He's also probably going to be walking around talking to folks, so that would be a great question to ask him. And from a federal level, they've already worked on banning like applications like TikTok, from federal. So I think that's a conversation worth having. I just don't know where that's going to go.
Right. Well, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, so much more about the Innovation and Technology Summit. We will talk about artificial intelligence, drones, robotics, telemedicine, and more. We'll be back.
Hello from the studios of KGCS TV. I'm Lydia Carlson, a communications major here at Missouri Southern. We're making lots of changes to modernize the TV station and bring you better quality video and content. But we need your help. We want to find out how you watch KGCS and what you like to watch. So we'd like you to take a quick questionnaire. It's as simple as holding your phone over the QR code on your screen. That code takes you to a link where you will see a short survey. If QR codes aren't for you, find a link to the survey on our Facebook page. Thanks for watching KGCS TV.
Welcome back. A hot topic in the technology world and even on college campuses is AI, artificial intelligence. It will also be covered at the Joplin Regional Innovation and Technology Summit coming up in November. We're back with our guest Doug Hunt, Director of Entrepreneurship with the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce, and Jason Rinker from Stronghold Data. Thank you both again for being here. This is a big event. So Jason, you run a tech company. How can this be a benefit for businesses?
The benefit that every business is going to have is just the opportunity to hear great speakers, and they're going to be presenting information that will be helpful in the business environment. Any organization, nonprofit, government, education. So it's not just limited to small, medium, or large businesses. The information that's going to be presented, we kind of broke it up into different tracks, as we kind of mentioned earlier, the 4 tracks. One track could have some information really designed for the executive level, C-level, those decision makers, some information that they need to understand. Then you could have some of your more tech-savvy individuals come into another track. And then maybe you have somebody that's just really interested in some of the really cool things, like you mentioned AI, artificial intelligence, or the robotics, drones, automation piece. So there's a little bit for everyone. So it's just, depending on what your appetite is, that day.
So let's dive into AI, because even here on a college campus, it's, you need to learn about this so you can spot it if a student uses AI to write a speech, write a paper, and that there might be some red flags, but that it could be used as a tool. So let's talk about how AI can be a positive tool for a business, but also then maybe some of the cons that might come up with this. So Doug, how can businesses use AI to their advantage?
Well, it's a great question. Not all AI is scary, as some might think. So we have a local business that is owned by Andy Griffith. He has SoloLink, and he is helping small businesses integrate AI to help them with time management, scheduling. And what's interesting is he has systems set up so that the AI will respond in text if somebody calls on their mobile device. And very rarely do people pick up on the fact that they are speaking or texting with an AI software program, because they really think they're communicating with a human being. Now, at first that may sound a little weird, but if you're a small business owner and you're trying to maximize as much time as possible to save yourself 2 to 3 minutes of the pleasantries just to get someone on the calendar, that is a huge benefit over the course of a year. So he will be diving into that, as well as several other things that would be a great resource to anybody in the community wanting to attend.
I mean, most of us know that you can get, a medical appointment, you get a reminder, and you think, oh, they're reminding me. It's probably not somebody on the other end texting you, hey, your appointment is at this time. So there are some benefits in that way. What would you say are some of the cons of AI that would be coming up that we need to talk about?
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is definitely a buzzword, and sometimes it could probably be overused. And there's a lot of different applications for the artificial intelligence or the large language models. And it's up to you as a business leader to kind of look at and explore how is that going to benefit your organization. So you mentioned, Lisa, from an academic standpoint about how can we see if students are using this to pass tests. So that may be a negative, right? There's people that believe that it's kind of like the old movie Terminator, where the machines are going to take over the world. But the subjects that we're going to be covering under AI and the different speakers, as Doug mentioned with Andy, we have a gentleman coming down to talk. His name's David Powell, and he is going to be really kind of exploring a little bit as what do you need to understand in your business, not only just pros and cons, but is there any legal or other applications that you need to be thinking about when you roll that out. The other speaker we have coming in, her name's Laura Merling, and if you don't know who she is, I would highly recommend you just look her up online, look her up on LinkedIn. She used to be with Google, and she is now with Arvest Bank, and Arvest Bank is one of our sponsors of this event, and she's going to be talking about how they're going to start maybe rolling out artificial intelligence within the financial community. And I think that would give organizations the opportunity to see maybe what somebody's doing,
Right.
and would that be useful in their case?
I'm sure there'd be some fear with that because nobody wants to say like, oh, did something trigger and there go my finances because some computer glitch happened, and you can see might be fear in the community. This kind of can help resolve some of those fears if you have knowledge of how it works.
Correct. There's always been conversations when people have played around with artificial intelligence from a political standpoint on whether you're on the right or the left, and how it's written one way versus the other way. So, that's definitely a valid, conversation that can be had. But with artificial intelligence and what Laura's going to be talking about, I think it's fascinating that we have even the financial sector looking at how they can, leverage this technology. We have a lot of businesses, a lot of organizations that are struggling with labor, and so they're going to start turning to tools like this to help offset or combat that issue.
Yeah.
We've seen in our manufacturers around, Southeast Missouri, or Southwest Missouri, Southeast Kansas, Northeast Oklahoma. Their manufacturers are turning to automation and the robotics piece to help with that labor component. So this is just another one of those opportunities with AI.
They can use it as a tool. So let's talk about some of those other sessions. You mentioned robotics. Any business, industry, school is dependent on computers. I mean, and if you lose internet, which we've even had happen here, it can really shut you down. There also is the danger of being hacked. So cyber resiliency is one of the topics. Tell us about that, and what are some of the dangers when, somebody who's not there for the right reasons wants to get into your computer system?
So under the cyber resiliency track, I mean, that is exactly right. People are after your data, and we all have the, trying to think of the right word here, we all seem to think that it's not going to happen to us. And there's been a lot of examples here in our area.
I mean,
that
cities.
Joplin dealt with that. The city of Pittsburgh's dealing with that. The city of Fayetteville was dealing with that. Dallas has dealt with that. From a municipal, we've even had counties, the state of Missouri, their Medicaid program this year's dealing with that. So,
and you can be held hostage in a sense, and they've even had to pay ransom. So that's kind of a strange caveat to think that it's electronically being held hostage. It's
yes, look at the story of Clorox. Clorox experienced a breach, and it's impacting their ability to produce their product, which they're having to report to their board now that it's going to impact probably Q1 earnings in 2024. So
wow.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on when it comes to a cyber incident. The cyber resiliency track, we're going to have Greg Robbins is going to be talking. He's going to share with us why cyber recovery is not the same as digital recovery. So this is going to be a little more technical.
How are they different? I would think they were the same.
I'm going to leave to Greg to explain, because that is how he does that, and that's going to be a more technical track. But when an organization is looking at building a plan, which every business should have a plan, and they need to understand there's different components to that plan, and that's what he's going to cover a lot, I think, in his session. We're going to talk in that track with two gentlemen that have an extensive Microsoft background, and they're going to be talking about how you can use your investment in Microsoft, which also includes the artificial intelligence component, to help protect your organization. There's some certain security tools contained within that, and how you can become more proficient.
Because hackers can really fool people very easily. It can be one letter off on an email that, so what are some of the ways they can invade that make it really dangerous? I know we have training for our employees. Is that something that businesses need to consider?
Absolutely.
Training to spot?
That would be my recommendation of one of the best investments a business can make, or any organization, is train their staff. That could go a long ways. And you're right, email is a very big target for organizations to leverage, because every employee generally has email at an organization. And with email, the other component to that is, and this is another speaker that I'm really excited that's coming to Joplin, but most of us may have heard about the breach, the incident at MGM in Las Vegas. And that particular organization just this year had an incident, but the group that perpetrated that attack put on social media a little post that said like a $33.9 billion company was taken down by a 10-minute phone call. And this 10-minute phone call, basically they found an employee online, pretended to be them, and then called their IT help desk, which then it escalated, which had credentials. So under the cyber resiliency track, her name is Shelby Draco, and she is a phenomenal, what we call fisher, and that's not the PH as in with email, this is with a V, and she's made over 20,000 phone calls, and she is going to demonstrate how easy it is to get your employees to do things over the phone. So it's not just email, it's done with the phone. We also have to be concerned about with businesses, and it's impacted even stronghold data, and that is the leveraging of text messages. And so they're trying to send text messages to get you to interact with them, maybe, hey, call me or send me an email or whatever it may be. We had an employee that started work on a Monday. On Friday, this employee put on LinkedIn that he was starting work with us, and as he was walking in the door, basically first thing Monday morning, he got a text pretending to be our CEO, saying, hey, reach out to me, and had that new employee not like, this kind of seems weird, kind of asking questions.
Sure.
It could have gone a different direction. But Shelby, if anyone sits in her session, it's going to be quite eye-opening on how easy it really is. So it goes back to your training component, not only from an email, but just those kinds of things. The AI, back to the AI piece, the AI has made those individuals have the ability to write better emails that maybe don't have the grammatical errors or just, that's not how we talk in this part of the country, right?
Yeah.
We don't say those kinds of things. So it's made even those things easier from leveraging those tools.
Okay.
But Shelby is going to be great. Greg's going to be great. We also have a gentleman coming down, and he's going to be talking about just where we're at as an organization, or as a collective group in the threats that are coming. So he's going to kind of do a state of the address conversation. That's going to be pretty interesting under the cyber resiliency. Go
ahead. Yeah.
One I forgot under the AI track.
Yeah.
Is Tim Coach, and he is with the company. He actually comes from Kansas City. He's going to be coming down, and he's with a company that does a lot of the chatbots. And we're seeing more and more of that when you go to interact with any kind of organization is, hey, do you want to do an online chat?
Right.
Well, so as a business owner, maybe that's something you consider doing because you don't have somebody to answer the phone for you. And so that's not necessarily what he's going to be covering, but he comes from a company that does that, and maybe that's something that would be valuable to other organizations. Yep, as a tool.
Especially for smaller businesses that
Correct.
just don't have the staff. So let's talk a little bit about drones and robotics and things like that, because telemedicine became a really big deal during the pandemic, and being able to use Zoom and have appointments, and some of the equipment that can be used to even send, heartbeats back, blood pressures back. But drones and robotics are a whole new world. It seems like it's not just drone video, but there's drones that apparently deliver packages. So tell us what you're going to be talking about when it comes to those items.
What's interesting about this summit is that there's so much for everybody. And what we're proud of is the fact that we get to highlight some local companies that are using technology in what they're doing. So in regards to that, we've got Stokes Educational System, which will have their robot dogs. And then, of course, we've got Algar Martin with the drones. But then in addition to that, we've got Freeman Health System that will be showcasing their telemedicine program that they're using in public schools that allows parents to stay at home or work.
Yes.
And then Mercy Hospital is going to be demonstrating their Da Vinci robot for surgery.
Which is amazing.
Phenomenal.
It's like they use joysticks in these robotics,
Yes.
which actually, from what I understand, makes it easier for the doctors than just trying to turn their hands, because they can get a 360
Yes.
rotation, which is something you couldn't truly physically do. So robotics isn't letting the robot operate, which some people might be confused about.
Right.
It's actually just sometimes assisting the surgeons and the physicians.
It's like for those of us who have lane assist on our cars, it's kind of like helping them do that. But then we also have a young man that I met 3 or 4 months ago at an entrepreneur event in Northwest Arkansas, and Quinn Childress. He has actually produced a prototype of a robot lawnmower.
Wow.
So he's coming up to demo that, even though it's in the prototype mode. This allows small businesses to see what it would be like and to hear his story about how to move from idea to prototype to mass market. So it's exciting all the way around. Tickets are free thanks to our gracious sponsors, which is Jaguar Transport, Arvest Bank, Stronghold Data, Full Bore Studios, Missouri Southern State University, Liberty Utilities, and we're just really excited about the fact that people can go to joplintechsummit.com, register, and they can come to this event for free.
So will there be any Zoom sessions? Do they have to be in person, or will
It's all in person.
It's all in person. So you kind of want to make plans to attend. So give us the dates again as to, it's starting on a Thursday night.
Thursday night is the standalone event and the Performing Arts Center at Joplin High School with Shane McCombs. Everybody needs to come to that. Free, 6:30, sponsored by Home Pro. And then Friday is our Tech Summit, starting at 7:30 in the morning at
And
James
all
River
kinds
Church.
of sessions.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And so, one thing we did not cover was the second keynote. The second keynote is going to be our Missouri Secretary of State, Ashcroft, is going to be speaking. And then followed up by him, we are having a law enforcement type panel. It's going to be moderated by Sheriff Jennings from Jasper County, but we're going to have an FBI agent. We're going to have a representative from CISA, somebody from Missouri Office of Homeland Security, and then the Missouri National Guard. And so they're going to be kicking off the afternoon sessions for us.
So lots of great information, and everybody needs it for safety's sake, because we're online. We're not going to get offline probably very easily anytime soon. So we need to work in that environment.
Correct.
Become safe.
The other track, I don't know if we still have time or not, but there's the fourth track, and that's at Trusted Business Advisors.
Yeah.
And it's going to start off, we're going to have 2 presenters from Arvest Bank. They're going to talk a little bit about how to protect your business from wire fraud, different stuff like that. We're going to have an attorney that's going to help businesses understand, some cyber, incidents. Insurance, cyber liability insurance from an insurance company.
So something definitely
Yep.
for everyone.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you both for telling us all about it, Doug Hunt, Jason
You
Singer.
bet.
That wraps up our discussion of the Joplin Regional Innovation and Technology Summit. We hope you find time to attend and learn how to keep your business and your children safe online. Thanks to our guests, and thank you for watching Newsmakers.